The day before my wedding, I somehow gained the ability to read minds. The first mind I happened to read belonged to my incredibly quiet fiancée. My phone buzzed with a reply to the lengthy message I had carefully composed. As always, her response was a single, stark letter. O. A familiar wave of frustration washed over me. Seriously, would it kill her to type out an actual word? She always wore this perpetually grumpy expression, and I never knew who that scowl was directed at, though I often suspected it was me. But no matter how irritated I became, there was nothing I could do about our situation. Our families had orchestrated our entire relationship, pushing us together from the moment we reconnected after college. After 3 years of what I could only describe as half-hearted dating, they were now rushing us into marriage. Tomorrow, we were scheduled to get our marriage certificate. You might wonder why I didn't resist this arranged union. There were 2 main reasons. First, I genuinely didn't have anyone else I was interested in. If I was going to marry someone eventually, it might as well be a person who was a suitable match in terms of family status, and Clara was certainly that, being the sole heiress to a considerable fortune. The second reason, and I admit this is entirely selfish, was that Clara was undeniably beautiful, even with that permanent scowl etched on her face. But her good looks didn't give her a free pass to have such a consistently sour attitude, right? I never had any idea what I said or did to make her frown, and she treated me with a distant coolness that she didn't even show her own dog. I glanced back at the message I'd sent her. If we really have to do this, let's just get the certificate tomorrow. Our families are so insistent. Shouldn't we just play along? We can go with it for now and see how things go. At least it'll get our parents off our backs for a while. I assumed her O was an affirmation, so I typed another message. See you at the marriage office at 9:30 tomorrow. When 10 minutes passed without a response, I didn't think much of it. I went to take a shower, and when I came back and checked my phone, there was a new message from her. It just said, "Come out." I walked over to the window and looked down. Sure enough, her car was parked at the curb, and she was leaning against it. The tiny red glow of a cigarette pulsed in the darkness, and the dim light made her skin look even more pale and translucent. Her brow was slightly furrowed, a clear sign of her impatience. With a sigh of resignation, I headed downstairs, but in my haste, I missed the last step and stumbled, falling right in front of her. My head buzzed for a moment, but I barely noticed. She extended a hand to help me up, and I grabbed it, thanking her out of pure habit. Why is the man I've dated for so long still so formal with me? Wait, who said that? The voice was unmistakably Clara's, but her lips hadn't moved an inch. He looks kind of cute when he's clueless like this. I really want to pinch his cheeks. What should I say later? Should I say, "I'll pick you up for the marriage office," or "Let's go to the marriage office together tomorrow"? Which one sounds better? The first one is more assertive. The second one is gentler, but that's not really my style. What on earth was happening? Was I actually hearing Clara's inner voice? As I stared at her with a stunned expression, she calmly stubbed out her cigarette and tossed it into a nearby trash can before walking over to me. We just stood there, staring at each other in the quiet street. Don't stare at me like that. You're going to make me blush. Then, as if on cue, I saw a faint hint of red spread across her cheeks. Wow, it really was her inner voice. She was actually blushing. The atmosphere was becoming too strange, so, with her internal debate still ringing in my ears, I hurriedly spoke. "Let's go to the marriage office together tomorrow. You can pick me up." Normally, I would have been the one to drive, but there was no way I was getting behind the wheel after failing my driver's test 3 times. She looked a little surprised. "He's going to the marriage office with me?" Oh my God, what do I say back? I couldn't help but let out a small laugh. "What are you laughing at?" she asked, her voice as flat as ever. "You're adorable," I said, the words slipping out before I could stop them. 9 o'clock tomorrow. "I'll be downstairs at your place," Clara stated abruptly, before turning and walking away. If I hadn't seen her ears turning a deep shade of crimson, I would have thought she was angry. Sitting back on my couch a few minutes later, I tried to process what had just happened. Wasn't Clara supposed to be this icy, aloof person? But hearing her inner thoughts made it seem like she might actually have a thing for me. That seemed impossible. I clearly remembered hearing her tell a friend back in college that I wasn't her type. Was I just dreaming all of this? That night, my dreams were filled with memories of when Clara and I first met, way back in our freshman year of high school. We were in the same grade, and she had made quite an entrance at the start of the school year. The word around campus was that she was the most beautiful girl the local high school had ever seen. Growing up, I'd often heard my parents mention hers, since our families were close business associates, so I had inevitably heard about Clara, too. However, my family had lived and worked in another state for a while, so I had never officially met her. When I found out we were going to be in the same class, I was, to be honest, a little nervous. I arrived in the classroom before most of the other students and could feel a few eyes on me. I wasn't bad-looking, but my social skills were average at best, which might have made some people a bit wary. Clara arrived later, after most people had already settled in. According to the seating chart displayed on the screen at the front of the room, she made her way through the clusters of students getting to know each other, and for a brief moment, the entire class went silent. As fate would have it, we ended up sitting together. Maybe she'd heard my name from her parents, because she seemed to hesitate for a second when she saw her assigned seat next to mine. As she approached, I tried to break the ice. "Your name's Clara, right?" With that, she sat down beside me. Trying to be polite, I greeted her. "Hey, nice to meet you." She gave me a quick, sidelong glance and just said, And that was how I came to know her. We were classmates for a full year before our paths diverged in sophomore year, when the classes were split by subject choice, and we no longer shared the same floor. I would still hear about her often, though. Stories about who got into fights over her, which never happened when she was sitting right next to me. Or the persistent rumors that she was dating someone. She never confirmed anything, but everyone sort of assumed it was true because she was hardly ever seen with any other guys. If she was, they were probably dating. During that first year, we were actually pretty close, closer than any of her rumored boyfriends later on. Oddly enough, no one ever gossiped about the two of us. My trip down memory lane was abruptly interrupted by a phone call from my friend, Sam. "Guess who I just saw outside my office?" "Who?" I asked. "Daniel, he's back." The news shook me fully awake. Daniel was Clara's alleged boyfriend from sophomore year all the way through college. Everyone talked about how inseparable they were in high school. Then he left the country for university, and people assumed they had broken up. I heard that when those two split, Clara was devastated for a while. At the time, I had just managed to win over my own short-lived crush and was basking in my own happiness, so I didn't check in on her. But now, the thought of heading to the marriage office with Clara suddenly had me feeling anxious. I really hoped her old flame wouldn't show up and cause trouble. Back in college, when Clara and I were classmates again, Daniel had been an annoying, lingering presence in the background of my mind. I went downstairs at 9 a.m. sharp the next morning, seeing the familiar car parked exactly where she said it would be, right on time. "I never run late," she said, her expression unreadable. No way I'd be late for marrying Leo, I heard in my head. Wait, did she really just consent to this so willingly? Or was I just catching her thoughts again? This was all too wild. It felt like I was living in a novel. I stared at her as she started the car. Ugh, he's staring at me again. "Clara, keep your cool, show some backbone. He's just Leo. Even though he's cute, handsome, and super fit." "Let's just get going," she said out loud, cutting off her own train of thought. I coughed awkwardly. If I listened to her thoughts for any longer, I'd be blushing for the entire ride. I was puzzled. Hearing Clara's thoughts, It seemed like maybe she did kind of like me. It was a wild idea, because aside from our time as so-so classmates, our recent relationship had been entirely forced upon us. There was absolutely no logical reason for her to have a crush on me. Damn, Leo smells nice. Did he switch his shampoo? Sitting there all quiet. He's so adorable. Surrounded by this strange, unspoken affection, we eventually arrived at the marriage office. Walking out a short while later with our marriage certificates in hand, I felt completely dazed. I was really married to Clara. It felt surreal. From the corner of my eye, I noticed a couple taking a selfie with their marriage certificate, beaming brightly in the sunlight. Clara noticed them too. "I want to take a picture," her mind whispered. "Want to take a pic?" I asked, surprising myself. We had never taken a picture alone together before. "A selfie?" she asked, her voice tinged with surprise. "Sure." Just like that other couple, we took our first picture together. Pedestrians buzzed by us at the entrance of the marriage office as we, a young couple with certificates in hand, captured the very beginning of our journey. After getting the certificate, it was time to move in together. Once all our belongings were placed in our new home, a place just for Clara and me, I was beyond exhausted. But Clara's skills around the house were actually quite impressive. If only she didn't have such scattered thoughts sometimes. Whoa, this thing is heavy. What even is it? Oh no, why are we done unpacking so fast? I wanted to take longer to do this. Looking at this woman who appeared so mature and stable on the outside, but was actually a complete mess of emotions on the inside, or should I say, my wife, I couldn't quite describe how I felt. It was like realizing that your longtime favorite shampoo was actually a conditioner all along. It just leaves you spinning. I was beginning to realize that she liked me. But when did this all start? Was she just putting on a distant act all this time? Had she liked me even before I mistakenly fell for someone else, thinking she was too cold? "All done," she said. "Yeah." "Why is he being so cold? He's my husband now." For a moment I thought she had spoken aloud, but it was just her thoughts again. "Thanks a bunch, Clara. You worked hard helping me unpack." "Huh?" He called me by my full name. "But he's my husband now. Did that mean I should start calling her wife like she wanted?" Holy cow, I couldn't do it. I might as well start chanting prayers. "Buddha, save me." I quickly changed the subject. "Feel like grabbing lunch?" "Yep." "How about Xiang Huai? They're known for their Hunan dishes." I love spicy food, and the place was a favorite of mine. Clara and I seemed to bump into each other there a lot, too. But I noticed Clara's brow furrow slightly. Maybe she doesn't like it. I should offer something milder, but I really want to go there. Finally, Clara suggested a Jiangnan restaurant, which was, coincidentally, located right across the street from Xiang Huai. How bittersweet. Still, the food was really good. Clara's taste never let me down. Well, except for that weirdo ex-boyfriend of hers. He had confessed to another girl while dating Clara, and after moving abroad, sealed the deal with yet another girl. Clara seemed to have wasted some time grieving that whole mess. It was unreal how I never imagined her being down about anyone. Somebody had probably stretched the truth. "Done eating?" Clara asked as I set down my chopsticks. "Yep, it was delicious. Hubby just praised me. Praised her? How? My place can't serve bad food, right? Her place?" Luckily, I was smart back then. I picked a spot with a decent view and set up a lighter restaurant just to sneak peeks at my hubby across the street. Clara opened a restaurant just to watch me. The Cold Queen turned out to be a love-struck romantic. Who knows what other surprises she has in store for me. I remained in a state of shock all the way back to our new apartment. "What did you think of that place?" she asked, which snapped me back to reality. I thought, didn't I already praise it? "It was great! Quick, ask who owns that restaurant. Help me out here. Who asks about the owner just because a meal tasted good?" But I did it anyway. Who's the owner? They have such great taste, creating a spot with fantastic ambiance, diverse dishes, and amazing flavors. It must be the best Jiangnan restaurant I've ever tried. A stillness followed my outpouring of praise. It's nothing special, she shrugged. I co-own it with a friend. Didn't mean for it to be a big success. Seriously, does she have to downplay herself like that? No, you've got real vision and great ideas. That's all you— My husband gets me. I love him so much. Thank you, she said. And now I was the one feeling embarrassed, like a schoolboy getting a compliment. We made it back to the apartment. Our bedrooms sat side by side. I had no clue why, with 2 bedrooms each equipped with a bathroom, she had picked the one without an ensuite. But when I opened my door, the sight of a stunning beauty fresh out of the shower explained everything. That toned midsection. Okay, stop looking. He's staring. Glad I didn't go with the room with a bathroom. Ugh! I shouldn't have wrapped the towel so long. This was her luring me. Damn, this was dangerous. Bang! I slammed my door shut and touched my flushed face. Leo, get a grip. Stop acting like you've never seen a woman before, I thought to myself. I quickly lay down on my bed and started chatting with Sam. Me. I gotta tell you something. Sam. What's up? Me. I think Clara likes me. Sam. Really? Didn't you say she wasn't into you? How'd she start liking you? And do you still like her? Me. I have no clue how she started liking me. I'm not even sure about my own feelings for her now. I used to like her, but now I just don't know. Sam. So she's over Daniel? Isn't he single now? Me. I don't know. Mentioning Daniel made my mood sink. I used to like Clara, but I was convinced she was into Daniel. I didn't like Daniel, but I have to admit, I was incredibly jealous of him back then. Now he's back, and he's single again. Even if Clara likes me now, can she really forget her intense first love with him? I'm unsure of my own feelings for her, but whenever I think about her being with Daniel, I feel that same old sting, just like when I heard the rumors about them back in high school. Clara is attractive and smart. She seems indifferent, but she's actually really kind. I often saw her feeding stray cats at school or confronting bullies and helping an elderly fruit vendor near the school pick up his fallen produce. That's the kind of person she is. Cold on the surface, but warm underneath. Back then, I secretly admired this rebellious yet kind girl. The next morning, I opened my bedroom door at the exact same moment Clara stepped out of hers. I noticed her sleepy eyes immediately perk up when she saw me awake. He shares the same sleeping schedule as me. We shouldn't disturb each other if we ever share a room. Wow, that escalated quickly. Sharing a room? Seriously? Morning, Clara, I said, echoing her thoughts. Breakfast together? Sure. Then silence. So, where are we going to eat? And what are we eating? A little guidance, please, Your Highness. How about we try my cooking? We both said at the exact same time. I was stunned, but also intrigued. Clara was going to cook for me? You can cook? Since when? I never heard you could. Just before. For you. What? Maybe my surprised expression was too obvious because Clara looked puzzled. What's wrong? Oh, I just didn't expect I'd ever get to eat your cooking. I'm honored, haha. Are you in a rush for work? No rush, I've got an hour. When I picked this apartment, I made sure it was close to both of our workplaces. A 15-minute drive, tops. Watching Clara head to the kitchen, her thought, for you, cleared any lingering sleepiness I had. Why would Clara learn to cook for me? What other little secrets was she hiding? Starting a business and now cooking. What else has she done for me? I tried hard to contain the sweet feeling bubbling up inside me, playing it cool as I moved to the dining table. Shortly after, a steamy bowl of noodles was placed in front of me. It was a simple dish of tomato and egg noodles with a perfectly fried egg on top. I carefully took a bite. It was warm and delicious. It might have been the first time I'd ever had breakfast she made. Or maybe it was our first day living together. Or maybe it was just the company. But I devoured the entire bowl. Thanks, it's great. As I cleaned up, I heard her thoughts again. Unexpectedly, such a weak compliment. Surely my empty bowl was a testament to how much I liked it. Do I need to write a mini-essay to show my appreciation? I wasn't thorough enough earlier. These noodles are amazing. The flavors are spot on, and the noodles are perfectly springy. The tomato balances the dish, making it perfect for breakfast. It's light and not greasy at all. Delicious. I just whipped it up, she said dismissively. It's not that good. If he likes it this much, I'll cook him breakfast every day. I must be a good wife. Good wife. Back in high school, I talked about marriage with some classmates once. When asked about my future wife's traits, I remember saying she should be pretty, in good shape, kind to me, and a good cook. Clara is undeniably beautiful. Her body, from that fleeting glimpse last night, is quite nice. Since discovering I could sense her thoughts, I've realized how much kindness she has shown me without my ever knowing, and her cooking is wonderful. In my mind, she more than qualifies as a great wife. Did she somehow hear what I said back then? That was ages ago. Did she hold on to those random requirements? Has she been eyeing me ever since then? I'd be lying if I said the thought didn't move me. But maybe I was just imagining things. After all, many people think a partner who can cook makes a great spouse. Still, I couldn't help but feel a growing warmth inside me. Clara, what's behind your affection? When did it start? And why were we so distant for so long? With these questions swirling in my mind, I rode with Clara to work. Thanks for the ride. Take care. Clara kept her eyes on the road and said, Leo, we're married. Yeah? I mean, you don't need to thank your wife. Cooking for you and driving you are normal things. Got it. I wanted to say that I understood, not just that I didn't need to be so formal with her, but that I was beginning to understand her affection. I considered telling her about my mind-reading ability, but decided not just yet. I got out of the car and walked into my office. My job is at the family business, which has been around since my grandpa's days, so there are a lot of familiar faces in the company. I don't really have a knack for business, so I've settled into a pretty chill position. My family wasn't thrilled about my lack of ambition, and there were arguments. Being the only child, they expected more from me. My grandpa and dad are big names in the industry, but then there's me, only wanting to drift along idly since middle school. The adults always wanted me to learn from Clara, and in high school they were really pushing for us to get together. And I guess what? They kind of did make it happen. I can't even remember why I first had a crush on Clara. We met at the start of freshman year, and Clara was always a person who commanded a lot of attention, no matter where she was. Within a few days of school starting, almost all the guys knew about her, the new Ice Queen. Some paparazzi-style photos of her spread around the school forum, and since I sat next to her, I ended up in a few of those snapshots too. Before I knew it, my name was popping up all over the forum. Who's the guy sitting next to the pretty girl? He's good-looking too. Why does he look so cocky in every picture? His name's Leo, right? I know him. He totally acts like he's above everyone. Only talks to Clara in class. Ah, come on, he's just a good-looking guy. Oh, please, is good-looking all you care about? And just like that, my name was everywhere. But honestly, I didn't pay much attention to the school's forum. Who goes around reading school gossip? By the time I realized I was being labeled as the cocky guy, it was a week later. That's when I met Sam. He sat in front of me, and one day he told me he'd stood up for me online. I was clueless, so I asked what he meant. He was shocked by how out of the loop I was. When I finally found out, I was pretty pissed. I didn't bother anyone, so I jumped onto the forum to argue back. Apparently, my anger was pretty noticeable, and even Clara picked up on it. She asked me, "What's up with you lately?" For some reason, maybe because she was always mentioned by my folks, or maybe because she just seemed reliable, I decided to spill the beans. I told her everything, and I could see her frown as she pressed her lips together, saying she'd take care of it. By the next day, or maybe the day after, all of those posts had vanished, and our names were rarely seen on the forum again. But you know teenagers and gossip, they didn't stop. After that, everything about Clara turned into hushed whispers and speculation. And that's when I started casually checking the forum just to keep up with her life after our classes were shuffled. As the workday was wrapping up, I could feel my coworkers getting antsy to leave. Or maybe it was just me. I was itching to be the first one out the door when my phone lit up. "Almost done with work?" It was Clara. I replied, "Yep, nearly out, ready to sprint for the exit." "I'm almost there." "Picking me up?" I asked, "like arriving at my building?" "Yeah." "Cool, I'll make sure I'm the first to dash out so you don't have to wait long." "No rush." How could I not rush? I didn't want to stay a second longer. As soon as the clock hit the magic number, I bolted, only to bump into an old acquaintance at the elevator. "Long time no see, Leo," said a familiar face with a smile. "Yeah, it has been a while. You haven't changed much." "True enough. But you look different, Daniel. More stylish, nicer clothes, and even more handsome." "You never thought I'd be back, huh?" "Pretty much." "Is that all you've got to say?" "Definitely." Honestly, I had nothing else to say to him. "I wanted to let you know I'm back." He was really waiting all this time just to tell me he was back. Got it. Don't get too cocky. Wait, how was I even being cocky? Okay, maybe just a little. Watching his expression shift through a rainbow of emotions amused me. I couldn't help but chuckle. It was a bit awkward to laugh out loud, but if there had been a gun nearby, Daniel probably would have shot me on sight. "Leo, honey?" Did I just hear two voices? The next thing I knew, I was watching Daniel's expression switch from, "You owe me $5,000, to, "You just gave me $5,000. This guy could totally have a career as a face-changing actor. I turned and saw Clara walking toward me. It was Clara. Did she really just call me honey out loud? That was crazy. Sure, I'd heard it in her heart before. But publicly? In front of her supposed ex-boyfriend? That was a bold move. Clara stood beside me. "Honey, didn't you say you'd rush out as soon as work was done?" "Oh, Clara, I wasn't trying to be late. I just ran into an old friend here." Finally, Clara glanced at Daniel. "Clara, it's been a while. I'm back," Daniel started, looking all sheepish, which I was far from thrilled about. "Keep it together, man. I'm her official husband here." But then a tiny panic hit me. This was Clara's first love. What if she was still hung up on him? Would she go back to him? "Clara, you don't remember me. It's Daniel. Clara interrupted him, her voice annoyed. "Who?" Both Daniel and I were stunned. She repeated, "Yeah, you're the one who delayed my time with Leo. Who are you again?" Man, this was her first love. "Clara, haven't you forgotten me?" Daniel's eyes started to get teary. "I'm Daniel. Clara cut him off again, giving Daniel the coldest shoulder I had ever seen. "Who?" After she spoke, and saw no reaction from Daniel, she simply dragged me out of the company's front door. Clara opened the car door, let me slide into the passenger seat, and then closed it. It was all one swift, decisive move. Given the vibe, I thought something dramatic, like rekindling old flames with teary eyes, was about to happen. Though, to be fair, Daniel did have teary eyes. "Didn't you recognize that guy just now?" I asked as she started the car. Clara paused for a moment, and my heart sank. Should I know him? Oh no, maybe he's some friend of Leo's? No, I don't have friends like that. That was Daniel. Your first love. Buddy? Your friend? No, not my friend. Daniel was your ex-boyfriend. I couldn't hear her thoughts then, but from her expression, she seemed as confused as I was. Ex-boyfriend? Yep, that was your high school first love, Daniel. She frowned like she had just realized something serious. Guys, I'm puzzled. What first love? Do I even know him? Of course. Your desk mate in sophomore year. Oh, I vaguely remember. He's the one who told me Leo was dating someone. Thinking about it still annoys me. He was my desk mate for like half a semester. I would have forgotten him if you hadn't mentioned him. Besides, I didn't want to sit near anyone other than Leo. I was seriously clueless. But everyone thought you two were dating from sophomore year all the way to college. You only broke up because Daniel went abroad. Who said that? Who's everyone? Apparently, Daniel had hinted at it when someone asked what it was like sitting next to Clara. He said she was awesome and had even fought for her. Sam told me all this. Of course, after that, the rumors of them being together started. I thought Clara had gotten into a relationship, so I just stopped focusing on her. I mean, seeing your crush date someone else is never easy. I couldn't let my heart get hurt, though I did crush hard on a college senior for a bit. That tiny crush made me feel like I had found a lifeline to stop liking Clara. I started pursuing the senior, but I wasn't being a jerk about it. I genuinely thought I liked her. But once we started dating, it just felt weird. She was great to me, but I never felt a real spark. And then we broke up amicably. That's when I understood that fleeting feelings can't compete with years of having a crush. I snapped back to reality, realizing Clara was staring at me. You always thought I liked him? Daniel? That's not the point. Yeah, I always thought you liked him. You were crazy about him. You had to break up because he left, and you couldn't forget him. I don't like him, Clara said firmly. I never had a first love. I never dated anyone before I married you. She paused, looking as if there were more words on the tip of her tongue. But she said nothing, eventually just sighing. Then she started the car again, and the scenery began to move backward. I thought the topic had died down on Clara's end when she spoke again. Is that why you stopped talking to me afterwards? Meanwhile, her thoughts played vividly in my head. Leo, did you distance yourself because you thought I was with other guys, or was it because you disliked me? I froze, instinctively wanting to respond but stopping myself just in time. If it wasn't because you disliked me, maybe you liked me. How can I get you to not act like there's a barricade between us? How can I make you love me? It felt like fireworks were going off in my head. Everything that had seemed odd since marrying Clara suddenly made perfect sense. She cooked for me, drove me to work, and even opened a restaurant just for me. Clara didn't just suddenly start to like me. She's always liked me, just as I've always liked her. She loves me. Clara loves me, just as I love her. It wasn't because I couldn't let go, or because I never got her. It was simply because I love her, and she loves me. We mutually felt the same way, and that's why we got married. It wasn't because our families pressured us, not because there was no one else who was a fitting match, and not due to any of those blatantly ridiculous reasons I had tried to convince myself of. I had overlooked the crucial fact that Clara's feelings and marriage wouldn't be dictated by her family. No one could make her do anything unless she truly wanted to. Clara has always been the type of person who would rather not settle than settle for less. I had overlooked every deliberate attempt she made to keep a distance, where she would cautiously ask why I wasn't talking to her. I even overlooked the day I started dating the senior in college when Clara got drunk at a party. She had said she was heartbroken because her crush was with someone else, not because her boyfriend, Daniel, had left her. I had overlooked so much. I didn't have time to dwell on it deeply. I needed to tell her before I was completely swept away by this overwhelming joy. Clara, I don't hate you. I like you. I always have. Thanks for the invite, but I'm currently in the hospital after just having a car accident. I can't believe my confession was so intense that it caused Clara's hand to jerk on the steering wheel and crash us into a tree on a mostly empty street in the Villa district. Is crashing into trees the fate of every clueless man? Clara, you dummy. Maybe because her mind was so full of thoughts, she wasn't driving very fast. Thankfully, our injuries weren't severe. Clara had a mild concussion. After a round of checkups, my parents rushed to the hospital, relieved to know that Clara and I were both safe and sound. I walked into Clara's hospital room to find her searing gaze pinning me to the spot, making me feel uneasy as I sat down by her bedside. Her head was wrapped in gauze, and she just silently stared at me. Was she planning on keeping quiet again? I waited to hear her thoughts, but after a while, I heard nothing. Had I lost my ability to read her mind? What you said in the car. Clara finally broke the silence. Clara, there's something I've been keeping from you. I laid out the whole thing, telling her all at once about my newfound ability to hear her inner thoughts. To my surprise, Clara seemed to believe me. Her expression shifted from confusion to dawning realization, and her ears and neck turned a deep shade of red. Can you really hear everything I'm thinking? Yeah. So when you said that thing in the car, it was a response to my thoughts? Yep. You don't hate me, she said, her question sounding more like a statement of fact. Nope, I never hated you. You like me? Yeah, just admitting it like that, I got a little shy. Clara suddenly hugged me, her warm breath tickling my ear. Then she buried her head in my neck, like a sulking golden retriever. Why didn't you tell me? Clara asked, her voice still muffled. Sorry, I always thought you liked someone else. Then I thought, why am I apologizing? You didn't tell me either. I only knew because I could hear your thoughts. When did you start liking me? I really wanted to know. That's a secret, she said, still trying to act all high and mighty. Clara froze for a moment, then sat up and looked at me seriously, saying, I'll tell you later. I was going to say, of course we've got so many laters ahead of us. But before I could, Clara said to me, Leo, I love you. Will you be my boyfriend? And just like that, a few days after getting married to Clara, we started dating. Even though we were already married, it was our first time being in love for real. We only dated for 3 years, though. Why, you ask? Because I proposed to her during our 3rd year together. Proposing while already married, that's something you don't see every day. She asked me if it was necessary since we already had the marriage certificate. I sheepishly told her I wanted us to experience the real journey, from dating to marrying. By the end of my explanation, my ears were bright red. A few years later, our little one was born. It was our 5th year together when we had our adorable son. Whenever we reminisce, Clara and I both feel grateful for that magical mind-reading ability, thanking our lucky stars that it came to me, allowing us to figure each other out quicker and save so much lost time. It's our 7th year of marriage now. Anyway, I've got to run. It's our anniversary, and I've got a date to keep. Clara's perspective. Leo thinks we first met during our freshman year of high school, but actually for me, it was way earlier than that. My dad was one of those strict fathers who believed in tough love. Honestly, I think it's nuts. Many parents are quick to pull out a stick, but since we're well off, my dad usually favored one of his golf clubs. Back then, just like many middle school girls, I was in my rebellious phase, constantly defying my parents and causing all sorts of trouble. I remember one day, after arguing with my dad and getting a beating, I had nowhere to go. While wandering aimlessly through a park, I saw a boy bullying another boy. From my angle, the bully seemed to be shouting about something. Let's call him Redface. Redface seemed really mad, even angrier than I got after one of my dad's whippings. In my own bad mood, I decided to watch the scene unfold, maybe step in if needed. Quietly, I crept closer, hiding behind a large bush. Redface was pointing at the other boy, loudly scolding him. "Dude, we're about to start 9th grade and you're dating? That girl clearly isn't serious about school. Get a clue." "But she's really nice to me," the other boy mumbled defensively. I was dumbfounded. "She's nice? So you're dating her right before exams? What good does that do? She doesn't help you study or ace your exams. Are you oblivious to her reputation? Do you even know how many times she's dated other people?" It turned out Redface wasn't really bullying his friend, but giving him a much-needed reality check. I couldn't help but side with Redface on this one. As I drifted off in my thoughts for a moment, their conversation changed topics, turning to ideal partners. The other boy eagerly asked Redface, "Leo, I'll break it off with her. Do you like anyone?" "Yeah, I do." My curiosity was piqued. Who could Redface possibly like? "But I'm not telling you." The way they spoke brightened my day, despite the post-beating mood I was in. Before leaving, I stole one last look at this Redface guy. He's pretty handsome. I didn't realize at the time that he would stick in my head from then on. It wasn't until freshman year of high school started that I found out Redface was Leo, the very same boy my parents couldn't stop praising. That day, he had come to my city just to set his cousin straight. I never forgot his face over that summer, and spotting him right away on the first day of school was quite surprising. I'm not one to remember people or things that are unrelated to me. Heck, I can barely remember things I'm supposed to. Though my dad praised Leo before every single whipping, I didn't despise him. Quite the opposite, actually. I spent my entire freshman year secretly following him. He was always in the corner of my eye, except during class. I watched him chat and laugh with his friends, watched him battle with tough math problems. Why were such ordinary things so captivating? I couldn't figure it out. I just wanted to watch him. That was until one day he mentioned the forum posts. I was mad, but I also felt guilty. Why guilty? Perhaps it was because of a comment someone had left on that post. I think Clara and Leo are a great match. With such a handsome guy around, Clara must sneak glances at him. They had guessed right. That's when I realized my feelings for Leo. Maybe I had liked him ever since that fleeting glance in junior high. Maybe being desk partners in high school made me like him even more. Or maybe his playful nickname for me, OJ, made it sound endearing. But none of those things were what really mattered. What mattered was how he felt about me. I've been a quiet, reserved kid since I was young, and I never wanted to spill my heart out. Like many teenagers, I just didn't know how to let him know how I felt. Until the end of our freshman year, when we were about to go into separate classes for sophomore year. I mustered all the courage I had to secretly slip a note into his pencil case. It said, "I like you. Do you hate me? Clara." I was so anxious, yet hopeful, as I waited for his response. One day passed, then another, and by the time the new semester started, he still hadn't replied. I got my answer. I spent the whole of sophomore year feeling down. The classmate who sat next to me, a guy whose last name was Chun, never stopped chattering. It was so annoying, so annoying. Later, I heard from Chun's gossip that Leo had a girlfriend. I still remember how I felt, like I had been hit by a ton of bricks. It hurt, and I didn't know how to face Leo. We hadn't seen each other for a while. Maybe he wanted to distance himself from me, so I just went along with it. We didn't meet again until the college entrance exam. I missed him, but I didn't dare to disturb him. After the exam, Chun confessed his feelings to me, saying he wanted to attend the same university as me. I just felt irritated, with everyone around us egging him on. I left, saying, "I don't like you." Much later, Leo told me there were rumors about me and Chun, saying I was head over heels for him. I almost laughed out loud at those ridiculous rumors. It wasn't until much, much later that I found out Leo had thrown away his pencil case right after the first-year finals. It was his yearly routine. I couldn't help but find it absurd. Wasn't that pretty inconvenient? At a sophomore class reunion, I heard that Leo was dating someone. This time it wasn't a rumor. He was actually in a relationship. That night I drank a lot, trying to numb myself and get over that silly man, but it didn't work. During my foggy haze, someone asked me, "Clara, you went to the same high school as Leo, right? You guys really seemed like a good match. Ever had feelings for him?" All I remember was being overwhelmed by frustration and saying, "He doesn't like me, and I don't like him either." Why could he date normally while I was stuck in this mess? Why did I have to like him so much? Why couldn't he like me, even just a little? What I didn't know at the time was that Leo happened to be nearby, dining with his friends, when he overheard what I said. We missed so many chances over the years. But maybe the universe took pity on us. My parents and his parents kept trying to set us up. By our senior year graduation, we officially got together, supposedly because of our parents' arrangement. Honestly, I was over the moon, but I couldn't show it. So I just quietly did whatever little things I could for him. I knew he liked that Hunan restaurant. I can't handle any spice, but I dragged my roommate there every time, hoping for a coincidental encounter. After graduation, when I was finally with Leo, there was a shop up for rent across the street. I took the chance and opened a restaurant there. I also knew that Leo hoped his future partner could cook, so I secretly learned from my family's cook. Unfortunately, with Leo being my boyfriend, he always seemed so distant, so I never got the chance to cook for him. Our relationship remained lukewarm for 3 years. Then, our parents urged us to get married for 2 years straight. One night, Leo suddenly suggested that we get the marriage license. It was something I never dared to imagine. A wish come true. We were supposed to leave for the marriage office the next morning. I was so excited that I wished I could just fly to his place right then and there. Waiting for him to come downstairs was torturous. I had no idea how to explain why I had shown up at his place all of a sudden. I watched him come down and he slipped a bit. From that day on, he seemed closer to me. When I found out he could read my mind, I was stunned. "Clara, you embarrassed yourself big time." But then again, what was so embarrassing? I had laid my true feelings bare for him. If he didn't feel the same way, I would continue to hide them and just quietly be there for him. If he liked me too, he would slowly open up to me. Thankfully, he liked me too.